guess what? This morning, we announced we're making a second and third season of...
That's exciting.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I once was walking my own dog in a park in London. Actually, it was very late in November, pouring with rain, windy. I had a scarf on, baseball hat, hood, and the park was lit by lanterns. And mercifully, he started playing with another dog, this beautiful dog with these blue eyes, and I could feel the owner was there, and he was like, you have a nice dog. And I was like, thank you so much, you too, you're a great dog. He's like, my dog's name is Loki. And I was like, oh, cool. He's like, you know Loki? I was like, yeah, no, got it. No, I know who you're talking about. And he clearly had no idea who I was. And then he was like, people say to me, oh, you named your dog after that actor who's in the Marvel films. But no, I named my dog after the Norse god of mischief and chaos. That's the real Loki. I was like, yeah, okay, understood.
That's very strange.
Yeah. It's absolutely, but it was amazing, completely true story. And to be standing in the rain with this guy, and he had no idea who I was, I thought, this is like, you couldn't make it up.
And do you think of Loki as a villain?
No.
You don't? Have you ever thought of Loki as a villain? Because you should sometimes.
I'm aware that he's made some interesting choices, which could be accumulated into a picture that looks like he's a villain. And once upon a time, he was making some misguided choices, trying to take over New York, and the Avengers having to assemble to stop him. That was a bad day.
Frequently letting his brother lie in peril.
Yes, reeling his brother in and then betraying him immediately.
Yes.
All bad choices.
Yeah.
But I like to think that, 14 years later, he's making some slightly more generous, loving, and heroic choices.
Right. Someone who literally controls time. It seems like you could have got this done sooner. Why didn't you?
Could have just sped it along a little bit. Honestly, we were just really trying to get the story right.
Okay.
We were working very closely with John le Carré, the great writer who wrote the original novel and many others, who's sadly passed away a few years ago. But he's had a huge input on the story. And
he wrote this great novel, and then you committed it to series. You did the story, and then you wanted to do more, but that was the end of the novel.
That's the end of the novel.
So you had to come up with the rest.
Right. Yeah. Alongside him and his sons, who are the producers. And honestly, the first season was one of the most creatively fulfilling projects I've ever worked on.
It's a great show.
Jonathan Pine is just complex. And
you are a producer on the show. Hugh Laurie is a producer on the show.
Hugh Laurie is an executive producer on the show.
Will Hugh Laurie be an actor on the show?
I don't know. He is a huge influence. He knows le Carré better than anyone. And he's been...
Yeah, this seems for sure like a lie. Because, and I'll tell you why. Because you just said you figured out the story. How could there be the story figured out without knowing if Hugh Laurie is in the story? Yes.
That's really good. It's good math. Honestly, it's like something we're still, he is involved as a producer, and that's been great.
Okay.
He's been in...
All right. Well, I'm going to have to get him in here, and I'll interrogate him.
Okay.
When was the first time you saw yourself on television? Our first guest tonight is a star of stage and various size screens. You know him best as the God of Thunder's brother from another mother. His TV show, Loki, can be found on Disney+. Please say hello to Tom Hiddleston.
It's great to see you.
You are doing, I know, an event, a big event, a panel for Loki with the cast, the creator, etc., some of the key people on Loki at Paley Festival.
That's right,
on Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah. It's going to be great. The directors, the writer, Owen Wilson, Sophia DiMartino will be there. And Paley Fest, it's a television festival in Los Angeles, and we'll be sitting around a table and talking all things Loki.
Yeah.
I'm walking down the West Side towards Columbus Circle, and I hear this whoop, 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 whoop behind me, and I'm like, what's going on? I turn around, and this very distinguished New York police officer is winding down the window of his car, and he goes, "Hey, Loki, put your dog on a leash. It's after 9.
Well done. Tom Hiddleston is...
And this very distinguished New York police officer is winding down the window of his car, and he goes, "Hey, Loki, put your dog on a leash. It's after 9.
Well done. Tom Hiddleston is here. We'll be right back. We are back. Wait, Tom Hiddleston. You played Loki for, I figured it out, 14 years.
You done the math?
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Did
Honestly.
you have any idea it would be such a long period of time?
Well, as you say that, it is like absolutely none. I had no idea. And every time someone says that, it kind of blows my mind. We've reached some sort of narrative conclusion with season 2, which feels very satisfying to me.
Now, I think maybe if people are in the middle of binging it or something like that, just plug your ears for a second. But at the end, you kind of wind up holding all the timelines. Loki does, anyway.
Correct. And we shot the... this is absolutely true. It took a while to do some establishing shots, and we ended up shooting the master of the eating and drinking, the master shot, the big wide that you start with at about 12:30 p.m. And I'd been on set since 5, and I was like, oh my God, this is the perfect time. I've got a huge lunch, and I can just eat it. And they want me to eat it fast and fulsomely. And it was like action. It was a seafood salad. I ate as much of this seafood salad as possible. I drank all the grape juice. I laughed with my, food in my mouth. Cut. It was like, fantastic. Let's break for lunch. I was like, well, I've already had lunch. And then I came back from lunch and sat back down, and the props master, who was in charge of continuity, said, "Okay, so in the master, you ate all the seafood salad, 3 bread rolls, you drank glasses of wine, you had another bit of pork chop from over here, and you have to match that in every shot for the rest of the afternoon." And I was like, oh my God. It was a lifelong lesson in continuity, and although, get this, all the other more experienced lords had taken a sort of nibble of lettuce leaf. They were like, they knew better than to stuff their face with seafood salad. Come to the final cut, the director was like, "I used you every time."
Well, there you go. Yeah. And free seafood salad.
Free seafood salad. Although they must have rolled me out of there. I mean, by the end of the day, I was like, I can't see any food ever again.
Yeah, I can understand that. When will the night manager come back? Do you know?
We're starting this summer.
You're starting this summer.
So then I guess, next year.
Great to see you. Tom Hiddleston, everybody. Loki is on Disney.
There was one time, about 5 years ago, I was in a play, an adaptation of, a production of Betrayal on Broadway in New York. And I took my dog with me, and obviously we have to walk him every day. And I was, as all New Yorkers know, you can walk your dog in Central Park off the leash between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. So I was up, I got out of my place about 7:30, walking around Central Park, beautiful day, late August, early September.